All hail Lambhead, protector of the realm.
MakingStarWars.net.
How's it going, Rob? That's what I thought, bitch. Anyways, today's one of those days where everybody just woke up and was like, it's Lambhead Day. I don't know what it was, but Lambhead was in the water. And Lambhead is, of course, the unknown Kenner Star Wars figure that they don't want you to know about, that we worship as a golden god. Hi, Rob. I still can't hear you, Rob. But anyways, it's probably for the best, honestly. Yeah, so today we just have like a pretty relaxed show. Kind of was more interested in the UFO story du jour. As you can see, I'm behind this space background because you're in a cult. All of you are in a cult. You just don't know it, or you do know it and you're happy. If you're unhappy, we'll reprogram you and everything will work out. Right, Meg? I mean, I'm going to use Meg's. Meg's got the best voice, so Meg will just like be like, you will accept us. Yes, yeah. Meg need to do our UFO show. That is a fact, Meg. Life has been silly the last couple of weeks. The amount of stupid shit I had to deal with. And I messaged Meg, or Meg messaged me, where we're talking, we're like trying to schedule it, but we will do it, Meg. It will happen. It will happen before Christmas. That's a promise. KM22 says, Avatar, me trying to summon Ron back to the show. Should we start calling him Ron? We'll call him Ron. Rob Swanson. But yeah, so anyways, just really quickly, I was, how do I phrase, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I had coffee this morning, and at that coffee kind of thing, yes, Skeleton Crew's expected to come out Christmas 2024. Are you all serious? I disagree. Yeah, it's not what I want, but between what Bespin has heard, I've now heard from two different sources that it would be, sometime after like Halloween. And then now today I talked to somebody who says that they expect, and this is a Lucasfilm person, it to be a holiday 2024 Christmas season. So when I hear holiday 2024, usually that would mean around Thanksgiving to Christmas would be the window of that one supposedly hitting. So that's the news du jour on that front. And no, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely not coming out in January. Like we were saying before, for it to come out in January, we would also have other sources that would know about certain purchases that would go into the advertising of that. I'm going to say almost impossible. At the same time, it's the one that's like the last show of the year. So with that, once again, to reiterate what Bespin and I have been saying for the last couple of months now, quite a while actually, it looks like it's Acolyte first. and then it's Skeleton Crew. And with that, I still don't see how Andor fits into the year. There was the Empire article that was probably based off of their press releases, their history, Lucasfilm's history of press releases, saying when things were supposed to go, and Celebration era information. As far as I don't have anything on when Andor is supposed to hit. They said that they, in their opinion, the source believes that Mando 4 probably gets benefited from that break, and that they think Mando 4 had some pretty good revisions go through before where we're at now. So hopefully hopefully that's also good news. This isn't the biggest news. This is bottom of the barrel shit, you guys. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass on that. Like it is. This is bottom of the barrel shit. But it's something in the barrel at least, It's been a little bit quiet overall. There's a lot of stuff like in flux right now. We're like in between things going up in full speed, and then a lot of people going like, don't say anything yet because of where we're at, So yeah, the future looks good. There's a good conversation today for what it's worth. Things look good. It looks like the ability to produce is, or I should say, the dedication to produce is going to be pretty solid. So yeah. What? Andy season 2? No Andy season 2. They didn't even make an Andy season 1. Andy, a Star Wars story? That shit got canceled. So, anyways. Let's see how Ron's doing. Hi, Ron.
Hey.
There you go. I can hear you now. You're working.
It's like Kathleen Kennedy's running my computer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off.
Yeah, we are pretty much going to devolve into that place of Kathleen Kennedy's the new Obama. Thanks Obama. Yeah. Thanks Kathy.
Yeah. Thanks
Kennedy. Yeah, thanks again. So yeah, and Skywalker Academy says good. I spilled it that way before and thought about it. Oh, Andy season 2. Yeah, but yeah. So anyways, yeah, like if you remember a few months back, we were like, hey, if you only subscribe to Disney Plus for Star Wars, you might want to save your money for a while. and just going to reiterate that again. If you're doing a month-to-month thing, there was a, I don't know if it's still active, but there was a really good deal for Black Friday that I used, and it's like Disney Plus and Hulu for like $3 a month, but you get the ads. But I was like, well, for $3 a month, I could deal with that.
I don't like ads.
No, I don't like ads either. But I mean, if I'm looking at spending like, like was it like 25 for the old one that has ESPN, and I don't use ESPN. So if I'm thinking like $300 a month, or like a year, or like 30, whatever that is, I don't know how much is that. But
I just don't give them money for Hulu. That's
I like Hulu.
I liked it too, but it was like I'm watching Only Murders season 3, and every time it cuts to the end of the show, which it's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, the last 10 seconds is the hook, right? Like there's some cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Right before that would happen, it would minimize the screen and go to an ad.
Yeah.
You're like, you can't minimize the screen before the credits, guys. Like this is ridiculous. You can't do that.
You can't. No, that's completely fair. No, yeah, my thing with Hulu is like I'll go and I'll watch like 3 episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'll be like, well, I am done now. I'm gonna go about my life, and then a couple of days later, I'm gonna go back. And when I hit resume on the show that it's offering me, it's like 3 episodes back from where I started, and I'm like, fuck you, Hulu. And I am hoping that Hulu and Disney Plus, because they're gonna merge into the same app this year, I'm hoping that they're just like, yeah, we're not fixing bugs on this shit and stupid shit on these apps because it's going to go into a new interface and we'll get new bugs then. That's my hope anyways. But is Bad Batch is still happening. Why don't I suggest everybody just harass Bespin Bulletin and just say, tell us when the fucking Bad Batch is coming out. Nobody gives a fuck. Tell us, Bespin, you stupid shithead. Try that. I mean, we tried the other approach, you guys. Did we not?
Oh, it's coming, but they're changing the title to Bad Biatch.
Oh, Bad
So,
Biatch. Oh,
yeah.
because Kathleen Kennedy, she's like, this
Yeah.
show's about the bad bitches of Star Wars.
Yeah, they're all female now.
They're all the clones.
Yeah, they changed all the clones to female. They just spontaneously. Yeah.
What's one thing you miss about the 90s Star Wars, or just the 90s in general?
We're all still iffy on what Omega is, though. So
what I do miss bookstores and record stores, and it feeling special when you went into one and found something that like you knew you couldn't find anywhere before the internet. Like that's something.
I also
Mhm.
chuck that up to like just our ignorance. Like I don't mean, you have less experience in the world, more things are new. Yeah,
Mhm.
I rarely saw like the 60-year-old musician, go into Blockbuster Music and be like, I found the one thing no one had. Like it just.
Mhm.
I think I don't know. Like that's what used record shops are for. You still have used music. You can still go into those places. They still have
Yeah,
them.
but if you do it, you're only doing it to ethically support the record store even existing. It's like feeding an invasive species at that point, you know? I hate to say it that way, but it's
Oh,
like the concept is dead. I could go into a record store, I could drop $25 to get a vinyl of like a St. Vincent record to get the code that I'll put to own the digital one, and now I own the tangible material, and I'll listen to the record a couple of times, but probably mostly listen to it the other way. But there's absolutely nothing that you could go find in a store that you probably cannot find online. That's
yeah. Well,
my whole thing.
even if there is a physical copy, it's like this whole man, dude. I'm just not a fan now. Like, you can't have an album. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have like 3 EPs released over 18 months.
Yeah, it makes
Like
more
like
sense
my
to like do it that way. Yeah, it does. It
yeah,
just
but it sucks because now you got to track down 3 separate things. You can't just get an album. You got to go find 3 of them now to get basically what was the album.
well, and to move this into like Star Wars, like it used to be if you were going out looking for vintage toys, right? You go and you find a Greedo. Let's just say the condition is like a 7. And you're like, fuck, that's not bad. It's not great. But you're like, do I pick it up? Do I pick up this Greedo? And then you're like, nah, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then you pick it up, and then you don't see a Greedo for like another year in the antique stores. And when you do, they're not as good quality. So you're like, I made the right buy. But today with the internet, you made the wrong buy because you can literally just go buy a 9 condition Greedo and pay for it, obviously. And then so like all of the fun is taken out of everything on that front for me for the most part. So it's like I really have to go and do those things just hoping I'm going to stumble on something I didn't know existed. So there's no white whale. You know what I mean? There's no like holy grail. If I could just find the holy grail online if I want to buy it. And so it's yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
but
I miss
usually at
though.
like absorbent prices, right?
Of course,
Like
yeah.
at
I
least a
mean, I
50.
mean, you
I
could
mean,
hope to find something, but at the same time, like more than not, you just find everything marked up in those stores because they have to cover the rental of the space. So it's
well, look,
yeah.
I collect the NECA Mirage Comics Turtles figures,
Mm-hmm.
specifically the one based off the original Mirage comics,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Love the designs, love the build quality, love them. But for something like that, NECA just they're like, your problem, find it. So like they put the turtles in the store, but if you want to get one, you're never gonna find it. There's so few quantities. The people working there snatch them up, or it's just a pain. So you got to pay at a minimum on eBay $50 more,
Mm-hmm.
to get something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, so what are you gonna
But
do?
when you spend $50 more, but like for me, if I was to drive around Los Angeles and stuff like that, I'm gonna spend probably $30 in gas. You know what I mean? Just trying to get around. So it's
Well,
yeah,
that's true.
that's the whole, but like I said, that's just what what was more fun to me about the night was like bookstores existed. And when you found a book, it was rare. Not everybody could just have any book. Like
You want to hear
it's
a
definitely
weird
better
problem I have
today.
with bookstores though, Jason?
Mhm.
Here's my problem with bookstores, right?
We have a
I
problem
gotta
with
go to the
bookstores?
bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom when I smell books. Like,
What?
since I was a little kid, you get me in a bookstore, I gotta go. And now it's not
That's
a problem.
the
But in
weirdest
the
thing I've ever heard
80s,
in my life.
I know I looked it up. It's a thing. Like it's an actual medical
It's a
condition. Some people have this thing, right? So weird, so triggered.
You got antique
So in the
shits?
80s, like now it's not a big issue. Everything has a bathroom. But in the 80s, no library had a bathroom.
Mhm.
So library day, man, as a kid, I feared it. I'm like, oh no. Like yeah.
What?
So,
Everybody's going to libraries having to shit? This is new to
uh,
me. I never heard
and
about
it was
this.
a scary day it was the worst day. Scholastic Book Fair, I had to get in and out, Jason. Here's my ticket. Gotta get like the soup nuts. You gotta get in there. Here's my stuff. Get my books. Get out, run. Like run.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So, oh yeah. So, want to hear the newest UFO grift du jour?
Sure.
So, all day, the last like 24 hours, there was all this stuff going like, oh, everybody set your pants to shit. Rob's in the library. It's
Yeah.
coming. Everybody buckle up.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, and then,
I don't need prunes.
and it turns out it's a
Oh.
Daily Mail article with no evidence again. Exclusive. CIA secret office has conducted UFO retrieval missions on at least 9 crash sites around the world, whistleblowers reveal. So once again, see this is like the problem. Like and just to like cross references to Star Wars and like what we do. I don't name sources. You can't name sources. Like and the UFO people get really mad about it. Like, oh, you must name. What's Julia Roberts doing right there? Look at Julia Roberts is like peeking in there. But they're always like names. Well, you can't. So that's a stupid thing. If you are into this anything and you need name sources, well, it's never going to actually happen. So, but what you do need is the people who have access to the sources who come out and then say, here's what's going to happen. This is what the thing is. And then it's backed up so that, like if it's video games, everybody respects the word of Jason Schreier, correct? And it's like, so you need like your Jason Schreier of the UFO stuff. And but you end up not having it because there's so much fucking money on the table by just saying tomorrow, that you don't really get that. So the Office of Global Access, OGA, God, this site is so fucked with ads, I can barely even read it. The Office of Global Access, OGA, a wing of the CIA, has played a central role. I can't even fucking read your article because of your goddamn ads. What the fuck? All right, a central role in collecting alien spacecraft since 2003, says the Daily Mail. Sources tell the Daily Mail.
Oh no.
Jeez, look
A
at it.
jingle ring ad. A jingle ring ad.
Are they fucking serious? Like, what do they want me to do with this? Jesus. The
Ad
CIA
I hate
has
to
a
do
system
it.
in place that can discern UFOs while they're still cloaked, and special military units are sent to salvage the wreckage. So this is more just like saying like what Grush has been saying, And let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys and the chat. Put a 1 if I'm fucked up for thinking this, because I might be. I don't know. And a 2 if you think that that's a fair question. The quote UFO whistleblower, this guy named David Grush, he's autistic. And I see that as a problem when you are trying to interview people who may be facetious. Does that seem like a fair concern? Like if I'm like, yeah, here's where we keep the little green men, and then he's on the spectrum and doesn't get that I'm joking, can't read my face. Is that a problem? It's a like a legitimate question that I have. I don't know if that's how it works or not, but I'm like, because if people are fucking around with you, if they're joking around, he might not know. And he might be running with some outlandish claims because I mean, if you interview 1,000 people, a couple of them are going to be jokesters, I would say. 3 sources briefed at those alleged top secret operations told DailyMail.com that the Office of Global Access, OGA, a wing of the Central Intelligence Agency's Science and Technology, has played a central role since 2003. So this is Jesus fucking Christ. I am never reading this site again on the show. they're like, you can't read the site without an ad blocker. Well, you know what? You can't fucking read the site with fucking ads. So what a piece of shit. But yeah, I mean, and like, it's like, yeah, so Pistol Pete says it can be a strength and a weakness. Like, I would imagine the analytical skills, the ability to keep all of the facts and narrative straight, like if that's like where their strength lies, because usually there's sort of like a give and a take with autism, from what I understand. Like somebody can be really good with like numbers, colors, stuff like that, might not be so good on the, you know, socially or whatever. And I'm sure he's very mildly autistic too. But I just curious if that's like a problem or not, you know? So he says Skywalker secondly says it's a 2, which means it's fair concern. It really depends on how far on the spectrum the person is. Most autistic people are genius level with numbers, but yeah, social skills are kaput. And like I could see that. I could see somebody with autism being an asset in data collection to the CIA, and also sort of a hindrance on other aspects. Like I said, reading between the lines. If you're a very literal person, I would imagine, just having done a quote intelligence with Star Wars from the Star Wars and Central Intelligence Agency, I can tell you that there's a lot of between the line talk that goes on, and I would imagine it has to be copious amounts of it, you know, in that thing. So that's why when it comes to Gresh, I'm a little like skeptical that he's not just being used, you know, if he is sincere in the first place. So, like, he can obsess and analyze facts, says Pistol Pete, but at the same time, he can't interpret people or use intuition. Yeah, that's you know, oh yeah, definitely ISB of Star Wars. I'll get you. I'll get you if you got it out there. But Daily Mail has
The
been
ASB
shitposting
is
for
Star
ages.
Wars. I don't. That's like saying chai tea. It
Yeah,
is
right.
chai.
But Rick Jones says Daily Mail has been shitposting UFO stores for, of course, and that's the problem with it being such a joke. The UFO thing is there has been legit UFO things that pop out in rags. You know what I mean? That's the problem that we have. But, and to go back to the David Grush thing, the quote UFO whistleblower, um, if he's really like doing this shit, like why is he on like Joe Rogan? Like why isn't he talking to, you know, the Post or
Oh, I know
whatever?
why.
Yeah, I
I
know,
know why.
but you see what I'm saying though. Like you would, if you were really sitting on something, I can see. Oh, I need to get it out to everyone. I would give that, like I could see that perspective being real, but also like, but you're kind of just going on the, you know, the lowbrow circuit, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. So okay, what Cascadian says? This all just seems fishy to me. Terry Gross interviewed Garrett Graff on Fresh Air last night. It was the same version of a conversation around this topic. Yeah, that's like have you seen the stuff about that like stereoscopic like video of that missing? I think it's like the Malaysian Airlines plane. Like that's the UFO story of the last couple of weeks too. Is that like they claim that they have the video from the satellites, and the usual debunkers, the McWest types, they're like, oh, we can see that this is an asset. Like this pattern is the same here as it is there. Therefore, it's a visual effect. And then the UFO people are like, no, that's like physics. The pattern would be the same. But
They think that plane was abducted by UFOs.
yeah, the
It
video
couldn't just
footage.
crash out of ineptitude or sheer
Well,
tragedy.
no, when you the actual like video itself, like once again, I believe it's very likely a fake. But the video itself has stuff going. Was released in 2014 for the first time onto the internet. It's before it was common knowledge how the satellites would have photographed the plane, and it's sort of accurate. It seems to be accurate to the best of the
The,
general experts'
the
knowledge
people that
of how
hoax
it
things
went.
have more than common knowledge. You
Well,
know.
no, the thing about it is that like, um, to me, and then I don't know much about the hacking world and stuff, but then Anonymous is released stuff from it now, and I don't know if it's like another video or if it was just, you know, more stuff backing it up, but this, the government
Like,
would
like
put fake would put fake stuff to see where it leaks from too. I think they would do
MK
that.
Ultra was not common knowledge, or was common knowledge amongst the UFO elites, but most people didn't know about it till Stranger Things. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look how long that went,
Mm-hmm.
So they still think it's like a version of Mortal Kombat 3 they never played. So
Right.
like, I just yeah, man, I believe in some crazy stuff, but at the end of the day, the easiest answer generally is the one that
Yeah, Occam's
yeah,
right. Yeah, of
yeah.
course. I mean, does it make more sense that somebody faked the Malaysian Airlines video, using the actual technology as it would be, you know what I mean? Not using the technology, but imitating it in 2014 and got it right, then a UFO came from space and stole the airplane? Yes. Yes, every time. That's why that's why we need the actual evidence. That's why, like, when David Grush goes and he's speaking to Congress and shit, if they're not bringing any evidence about any of the claims, if everything is anecdotal, that's not evidence. Like, if a source tells me a bunch of stuff, I will probably believe them. I won't move forward with it. And when they show me, then I'll go, oh, there it is, without a doubt. And then now I will, put my name on the line or whatever, so to speak, to back it up. And that's what we kind of need with the UFO stuff, with those types. Like, like, I'm of the opinion right now that Elizondo didn't pan out. That Elizondo is
No.
on the grip. Well, yeah, but remember, we had to follow it as it was developing, as he's making the claims, and then we look at the claims over time and we see, oh yeah, he just keeps saying 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, and 6 months, and 6 months. And you're like, well, this isn't going anywhere. And this same problem, it exists in the Star Wars thing too, you know what I mean, where there's just always like, oh, let me give you a scoop for something that's 2 years away that hasn't filmed yet. And the people are like, okay. And then they all fall for it, you know? But you need to, like, look back and look at, like, well, okay, what has come to fruition? Like the other guy in the UFO thing, Jeremy Corbell. He's definitely releasing real things that were thought to be like UFO based at one time. At least when he got it, I do believe he believed it. Like, oh yeah, but then, like, those triangle drones off the coast of California, it's been debunked. But you'll still see him go on ABC or something and act like it's not been debunked, like what he had was like real, and it's not. And so right there, the level of integrity, the ability to go, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you what you don't want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, and it's not real. Turns out that one didn't pan out. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with something leaking through the government that's like a mystery, and then we have the answer. You know what I mean? And then it turns out it's not that. I mean, that's just part of, like, I think, having integrity with your information. Like, the other day when we tweeted out a question about the snowtroopers, turned out it was a party, kind of like an expo at Pinewood. So went and did the update, said, hey, turns out this isn't anything. And then you still see people running with it and citing me, and they follow me enough to copy what I put up on the internet, yet not enough to put the clarification, because the clarification doesn't get you anything. So it's a big problem with information. Thank you for the super chat, Shogun. So, is there a problem with slow UAP disclosure? Say aliens exist, then bye, see you in a year, leaves public angry. If you lead up to it, but no confirmed aliens, people be, why are we talking about this for years? Yeah, that's kind of so the story as it goes now, I would say, like the official story, I think that all UFO people agree on, and even Grush is the one who is pushing it now. I think what was he on? He was on something recently pushing it. They claim that basically everyone has just broken the law so much over the years, trying to keep the concepts and technology that they are supposedly retrieving in these crashes, a secret so that they can develop it. But the problem is, like when you take a piece of, like, let's just say a UFO crashes in your backyard, then that piece is taken by the government and it's given to like a private contractor. Well, the other contractors can now sue because they did not have the ability, they didn't get the chance to bid on it, on the project. They didn't get the access to the technology. It's an unfair advantage. And all of those people also are invested in those companies. So they claim that for disclosure to actually move forward, we're going to need okay, no one is going to be arrested or sued, and you cannot sue the government on this topic. They need everybody needs to be basically granted a pardon. And so that's kind of what they're claiming. And that's, until that happens, UAP disclosure in a what we have.
They'll get their pardon, and then they won't release it anyway. That's our government.
Yeah, probably.
They don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it probably comes down to private interest, really being.
It's like when you campaign on
issue.
Medicare for all, and you finally say you're going to get it, and then it still has insurance premiums. You're like, then that's not it. Like that's not it. But what are we doing here?
Yeah,
medical bankruptcies for everyone. That's what you wanted, right? That's why we all wanted. That's why we voted for people, so we can have that. Sure,
that's true. Yeah, I mean, and so that's where I'm kind of the opinion, and I don't know how likely this is to happen, but it's probably gonna disclosure when you get down to it. I think they've already told us as much as they will tell us, as much as they possibly could. You know what I mean? Like they're like, yeah, there's things we don't know what it is. I think that's probably as much as they're going to tell us. So it would probably take a private person or company that to actually like give disclosure in some way, but I just don't see it actually happening. Like, remember that Elizondo paper that we saw, or that like meme? I don't know what you call it. See, do I still have that? I think I texted it to you, but it has like Elizondo, and he's like 2017 disclosure just happened. 2018, I think disclosure already happened. 2019, is this it right here? Nope. And it just like kind of like keeps going, and it's just like, oh yeah, then he's like, oh, disclosure is coming, and then it changes. I think disclosure is just around the corner. Then it's like disclosure is going to happen by 2030, and it's just like, come on.
Hey, half our government won't even admit January 6th was a terrorist attack. So what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah,
that's the world we live in.
It's true. No, yeah, it's true. Oh yeah, what's the tea on Droid Story? Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, so with Droid Story, to be upfront, I got dog shit on it when you get down to it. But no, what I do have is that it sounds like it was just research and development. It doesn't sound to me like it got very far. This is how do I explain this? A source at Lucasfilm that wouldn't know a lot about it, that wouldn't, basically says that shit really went down on it. And like this source, when things are really like heated up, they will know. There will be stuff, information moving back and forth, things that are seen, talked about, you know what I mean? And it sounds to me like it just was research and development on it. So was it even like greenlit? I don't know, man. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound good. I'm not holding my breath. Love to be wrong, as always. Love to be wrong about Skeleton Crew. Would love for it to come out in 3 months, you know?
Judging by the quality of their logo, I'm gonna say no.
Maybe they made new logos. I don't know. Maybe I hope that's not I'm kind of tired of it already, that logo. But it sounds like only Mando 4 will be filming next year, unless I forgot something. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mando 4 Did Bespin say something about Mando 4 when it's filming in his last article? I can't remember what he said now. I don't want to say the wrong thing. But Mando 4 is probably the main thing filming next year. Yeah, I mean, and then like there's a possibility of movement on Lando later in the year, but I don't know where we're at with that. Lando becoming a movie is like such a head scratcher, isn't it? Like, isn't that so weird? Like that it went from most things we've heard about are movies getting demoted to
No,
television series, if you
the
will.
story should have resolved once they're done with the story on Disney Plus. It moves to movies if it's popular enough. That's how I
Yeah,
feel. But then
and
it stays in the movie land. It doesn't come back. That business model makes no sense to me. The average person's gonna be like, "I'll just wait till it's on Disney Plus." Doesn't
yeah,
you know? Look, the whole. I thought the way of getting out of origin movies would be Disney Plus, so we don't have to go watch the Captain America one that has the obligatory. I like the origin, but there's a lot of superheroes you don't want to sit through origins through. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So you could do the origin as a Disney Plus series or in a Disney Plus series. And then when that character graduates, you can go, boom. Or in Star Wars, you just have an opening crawl that says, what briefly happened. And if you want to know, you can go on Disney Plus and get caught up on all that stuff. It's a reason to subscribe.
Yeah,
Not, yeah, it'll be on the theaters and then later Disney Plus, and then we're gonna do more theaters. It doesn't make no sense. No, people are just
yeah,
forget inflation. Even if inflation never happened, or greedflation, as we gotta call it what it really is. Even if there was
mm-hmm.
no greedflation,
Greedflation.
yeah, that's what we're experiencing. Because how does every country worldwide experience this, right, at the same exact time? So
Hey man, my eggs are worth $14. I don't know what you're talking about. They were some good huevos.
even the Amish, who aren't part of the global monetary fund, are dealing with greedflation. So
mm-hmm.
the even if that didn't happen, people would still be like, I'll wait.
Yeah. But once again, to reiterate, because I've already seen like a GIF from this show, or not a GIF, but an image on Twitter. Christmas season. It doesn't necessarily mean December. You know what I mean? It means the skeleton crew for Christmas season. So in that window. So I'm not saying December. I'm not saying anything specifically. I'm saying
given that Christmas decorations go up like in August, it's
well, I'm talking like Thanksgiving to Christmas. You know what I mean? Is the window that we're looking at here. Let's even make it wider. Let's just say like November 1st on, to November to December, like in that window right there. And 8 episodes. So I don't know if they'd have it go into the next year, but whatever, something like that. So Christmas season happens after Halloween for some people. Yeah, I know. That's about when you see like the stores change things over, right? You kind of get like Halloween's done, and then we start to get the Thanksgiving and Christmas thing. It's kind of like a transitional thing with Thanksgiving to Christmas because there's a little bit of carryover, but yeah, unfortunately, and unfortunately, I think it makes sense. I don't like it. I want all of the Star Wars stuff in my eye holes right now. I want to see everything. I want it now. I'm a little Veruca Salt. I want it now, Daddy. But at the same time, with Mando, as best been said, not filming until next year. What did he say? Spring or something? Can't remember what he said now. But whatever he said. Next year, you have another 10 months until the Mando can even come out, right? So that puts Mando into 2025, late 2025 sometime. So you don't necessarily want to go 2 years without a Mando story. So by doing it this way, I think you do end up with picking up giving that story like a little bit of momentum. And in theory, we're going to have Mando and Ahsoka and then the Filoni film. So we'd have Skeleton Crew, Mando, Ahsoka. That would be, in theory, how this should go. And, you don't necessarily want those things to be 2 years apart from each other. And but you don't want them. You want enough spacing that it's sort of an event when it hits. To use the Kathleen Kennedy eventize word, need to eventize Star Wars, everybody.
Every 7 months, it'll be a big event. Everyone's
Every
gonna
s-
be like, I haven't seen that before. It's only been 7 months.
Yeah.
Real special.
Yeah, but Shale says Pedro Pascal's going to make $1 jillion if he hasn't already. I don't know, man. I think he was fighting at the end, when he was doing season 1 for his pay, and then I think he fell more in line with what they originally wanted by the end, and then we are all used to seeing him by then. So I don't know. I mean,
Nah, man.
he's just
He's
doing the
making all his money
voice.
stretching.
Yeah.
He likes to stretch.
I don't know why he always gives him the accent. He's from where I'm from. We're from the
I
same
like to
place.
stretch,
We literally
Jason.
have the same accent. We're from the same area.
I like to stretch fantastic.
Skywalker's Academy says, I don't remember. Our tradition was setting up a tree the day after Thanksgiving, but that became Black Friday in the 80s. Yeah, for me, Black Friday, I don't think I really knew of it until like the early 90s. I remember like my family going to get my grandmother a bread maker and then coming back exhausted. And I was just like, you saved $75 on a bread baker, but you're exhausted and you were up all night. I think it's just worth paying the 75 extra dollars considering it ruined your whole weekend. But what do I know? The kids in Skeleton Crew are going to be seniors in high school when the press tour starts. Yeah, that's another thing that I've speculated before, is that delaying Skeleton Crew could theoretically allow for Skeleton Crew 2 to go into production before we've even seen 1. And there's been nothing that states that's going to happen. Skeleton Crew, I don't have anything strong on it being a limited series or a series.
Jason, countdown. Why are they making more Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka 2 hasn't been greenlit yet?
Yeah. But the thing is that Skeleton Crew does have a clock. I mean, those kids are going to become 37 in no time, and in film production years,
Especially that Rebo kid. Rebo's aged 7 years in 1 year. You don't know that, Jason.
Just fucking balding by the time you get to the third season.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, it's gonna be they're gonna have to like act quick on them, or they're gonna have to just be like, yeah, time has passed. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to like have the seasons basically
somehow
in real time. Mm-hmm.
The Skeleton Crew got older.
Somehow. It turns out they went light speed too far, and
should they just play younger, and even though they're like adults, like just keep pretending they're little kids? Like
Chris says, Rob, I can help you with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. There are plenty around these parts.
Oh no, I'm all caught up. But what I'm trying to say is when they first release, yeah, we'll talk. But I mean, with shipping these days, what's the difference between 50 bucks?
Michelle says Moff Gideon turned into comic relief character. I hope they give us some real bad guys who pose a threat to Grogu, a protagonist to keep watching. Yeah, well, the implication
me so much.
The
angers me so much, dude.
The implication at the end of the season is, and when you put it together with Ahsoka, is that Mando thinks he's going to take his child to teach him how to become a Mandalorian, the Mando ways, and that they're going to hunt Imperials, stormtroopers, and low-level, douches that are currently disempowered in a faltering empire that doesn't really exist anymore. And he's doing that as Grand Admiral Thrawn returns. So he's going to go out there, I think, in the first episodes, and he's going to arrest a bunch of fools who they want back almost immediately. And he's going to be like sort of their primary antagonist to the Empire at that moment. And it's not going to be good because it's going to reform under Thrawn. They're going to resurrect all of those dead witches in the coffins and shit. And Grogu and Mando fucked with the wrong gang, basically, is what it's gonna come out to. And so in theory, you could get your wish. Now, could they make them all a bunch of bumbling fucking idiots? Anything's possible. Anything could happen. What do you guys think, though? Do you guys think Moff Gideon? Do you guys think Moff Gideon's dead? Hit 1 in the chat if you think he's dead. Hit 2 if you think he's alive. Because I want to know what you guys think on that. Because I'm of the opinion that he's not dead, that he's all injured from that fire and that explosion, and he's just going to be in that Mando armor from now on, and that's an ability to let him fight, for Esposito to not need to be on screen just like Mando and be a voice only, and they could use the space, when they need it, which won't be that often, and he looks cooler in the suit. But I don't like that. I don't like what I perceive to be a fake out death. Especially with Star Wars when they bring back people. Like this is just my opinion. I think they're going to bring back Ventress. Ventress is buried on Dathomir, and they're bringing all of these witch corpses to Dathomir to resurrect them. So they just go, oh, but not her. No, she's going to come back to life too. So I don't think the balance of where the narrative is going on that front was a good idea, because the discourse is already that nobody dies in this universe, and they don't. It's serialized fucking entertainment. What do you expect? I mean, that's what it's gonna be. That said, on that one, I just don't think it was worth it.
My favorite is how the Force ghosts stay young, but the memories of characters, they age in their memory.
Right.
You get a 40-year-old, 16-year-old Anakin,
Right.
but he's 22 years old when he's a Force ghost. I love that.
Rick Jones said 0, which means he's the chosen one and he's going to be reborn. Wow, that's a weird one, Rick. It's a weird take, Rick. Royal Fino says 2, the clone thing should not be ignored. Perfect setup for him to come back. Yeah, either as a clone or that wasn't the real him, right? And yeah, it is true. Like, no one dies in the Filoniverse. No one dies in a universe where characters are IP that have value,
But Giancarlo comes back as Italian. He's Esposito. Hey. He's got a mob of his own clones. Hey.
All right, you jabronis. Here we go. We're going to get the Empire back together.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sir. The Italian chromosome was kicked on, and he's feeding all the stormtroopers spaghetti.
We're gonna be on good Ferrix, yeah.
Rob, do you know what he said when he saw the Death Star for the first time? That's a big spicy meatball. That's what he definitely said.
That's a big spicy meatball.
And they're like, no, Moff Gideon, that's just our new Death Star. And then Dave Filoni said, this is good shit. And then he wrote finished. Finn and the very last page.
Yeah. With 2 N's. And then it just confuses everyone. Does he mean he's Finn's dad because he's black? He's not black. I know.
Skywalker's Academy says Nara Shade will fall in love with Luke. She's the night sister that becomes Thrawn's left hand on Dathomir. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about that. That sounds crazy to me, but I'll believe you because I have no choice. But yeah, Royal Fino says, I hope they showcase the Imperial Council members in Mando 4. Lots of solid actors in there. Yeah, that's obviously, I think that's an obvious like given, like that's where this is going to go. We're going to see all of those people not, I believe, not in the holographic form. I think we will see them actually like with Thrawn, and then now we'll be like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, and there'll probably be like their little internal squabbling. I mean, it's a possible, since this is a television series, we could even see them fight each other for an episode until he fucking pulls them all in line. I think that's possible. Now, it would be interesting. It would be an avenue to explore on screen, and that would make it, compelling. At the same time, though, after like, if you ask me about the clone officer and what's her name going, eating ice cream episode, I would have thought that would have been compelling too, but it wasn't. So I'm a bit, I don't know, apprehensive. Paleon and Hux outshine Gideon just in episode 1, when Gideon couldn't do that during 3 seasons. Also seems like they are up to be with Thrawn conflict. Leave them dead. Leave the man dead. Yeah. Well, the problem with the idea of the Esposito character is that they didn't know how to write it. They know the archetype that they want. They look at it and they go, okay, Vince Gilligan. And then nothing happens. And then they say it again. Then they say Vince Gilligan 3 times and it just doesn't happen. It takes more than that.
Right back and you hear a tale of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And then it's got a spin-off show. Better Call Saul. Oh, I couldn't make the last one. Right, I tried.
Yeah, KM22 says, does Lucasfilm have a good track record of going with the obvious choice though? It's all over the place with that. With that, like what's a given, and the idea of like circumventing things. Like Dave Filoni's methodology is obviously like always grounded in the world. What came before and what would that say, and then how would that interface with the new concept, and then that's how he comes to his conclusions, in my opinion.
All
You know,
plot, no character.
that's how you end up. Yeah, that's how you end up with those sorts of choices.
I need more
I
maps to get to a thing, to find some maps, to get back to a thing, to get some more maps, to unlock a thing, and then cut.
Yeah, but you know, you never know what they're going to do on that front, and then they over prioritize secrecy and not letting anybody know what the tone of their show is or what they're going for, and then they scramble at the last second to try to clarify it. But it's already too late because expectations are set because they didn't set adequate expectations from the start.
Jason,
Wait, what's up?
Jason,
What's going
he's
on?
having a meeting. We gotta keep it real quiet though, cause there's scoopers around.
Oh, okay.
There's scoopers around, Jason.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on? What do you got to say, dude?
Okay. Hear me out.
Yeah.
We's gonna do 5 nights at Max Rebo's.
Okay.
We'll do that one, Jason, and you're gonna be
Right.
stuck with the Rebo for 5 nights, Jason.
Okay.
That's it. That's what we's gonna do.
Oh, that's not even an
Trilogy.
idea, Dave. That's just you saying the last thing you saw and putting a Star Wars character in its place.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should do that, Jason. Good idea.
I don't think you're ready for this, Dave. I just don't think you're ready for it, man.
I'm gonna give you some tips on your podcast.
Okay.
Just
Go
make up stuff and lie. You'll get more money.
Okay.
Let's make up stuff, Jason.
Okay. What should I? Okay. So, in the next Star Wars series, we're going to learn that Papa was a Rolling Stone. Max Rebo has been going around the galaxy, doing it, and we're gonna see in Skeleton Crew that little guy is his illegitimate son that he doesn't take care of.
I'm gonna use this,
and then
Jason.
that character is going to want to start a band because he lives in his dad's shadow, who's the famous Max Rebo.
Just like the poster, Jason. It's my favorite poster. It's the shadow poster.
I mean, so what do you think?
I got a meeting with Kathy. Thanks, Jason.
You're just gonna write that now, huh? You're just gonna put that in the show now.
Yes.
You tricked me. Fucking Dave Filoni.
See, he just got you to give him his next. He's a story guy now. He's got all the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you're the story guy, you gotta come up with a lot of stories. So he's gonna find any. He's kind of like the Hamburglar. He's trying to find sneaky ways to get your stories, right? Robble.
Yeah, I mean, no, and I enjoy. Cascadian says, "Thank you for being a channel member, by the way. I enjoy the hell out of Moff Gideon. It's a super campy show, and he fit right in. It's like that's the weird thing with the Mandalorian show, you know, is it's like if you take it too seriously, then you're the dumb fuck. But then it's like you do have a right to have expectations. No, you know what I'm saying? Let me finish. You have a right to have the expectations that everything performed at a certain logic, that it does not insult your intelligence along the way. And
super campy when like the first shot in The Mandalorian is like stormtrooper heads on pikes and them roasting Cowlickian space lizards or monkeys or whatever that thing's called.
Yeah.
You know, they're real campy.
Well, see, the thing about camp is good as long as everybody's having fun. It's the camp then becomes groan-inducing and insulting when you're not having fun. That's the whole fucking thing about it. That's the danger of using it and not using it appropriately, I'd say. But Balin says, who's the antagonist for Skeleton Crew and Acolyte? So, without like saying too much,
Leslie Headland. What?
Kathleen fucking Kennedy, bro, stepping in the way of Dave Filoni. She takes his hat, she puts it on the ground, she steps on it and says, "What are you gonna do, bitch?" And Filoni just fucking cowers because Fucking Force is female, bro.
He runs into his bedroom and throws his face into a bed and just screams into a pillow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, so we know that there's pirates that are chasing the kids. The thing about it is we don't know for how many episodes. And we know that from when they were filming, that it did seem like the pirates were around. The theory that I have and Bespin has, and I think we all share this theory most likely, is that the children find the ship in the forest. Everybody on the ship is dead. There are skeletons in the ship, hence skeleton crew. The kids fly the ship out on a joyride that goes south. Why does it go south? Well, do they just hyperspace into a space whale and end up in a weird place? Maybe. But I'm kind of thinking that when the ship activates, either rivals of the pirates, the dead pirates, are alerted to the ship's signature and then begin to chase it, or the allies of those dead pirates. And so I'm kind of leaning towards most likely the pirates think that the kids killed their allies, their pirate friends, and that's sort of what starts a beef. I remember stuff about them filming in like an opulent hotel. There was stuff about pirates from Mando 3 being in Skeleton Crew, filming at the same time. I know Rob's about to have a coronary about Salah the Hutt. He's dead. Don't worry. Salah the Hutt can't chase him down. But
he gave everyone E. coli before he left. They died of dysentery. So
hey, it was a Quakian chicken salad. But
yeah,
and that's one of the things though with Skeleton Crew is that it's going to be a bit campy. Yeah, they're towards preteen comic book Saturday morning matinee crowd, and that's one of the things we've been hearing about Skeleton Crew is that it does lean into the camp a bit.
You're right. You talked me out of it. Star Wars is shit. Thanks, kids. Cascadian. Appreciate it. I learned my lesson. It's always been shit. It'll always be shit. So just root for more shit. You know? It's like those kids who grow up with the Marvel movie you like the least, and then they tell you that's how it's always been. So there you go.
No, it's not. It's all that matters.
I mean, you are right. Wookiees do the Tarzan yell, so we should make a whole movie out of it. You know?
No, it's not that. No, that's a bit
door's been open. Can't close it.
Rob?
Can't close it, Jason. Gate of truth.
No, in Star Wars, I mean, it's evidenced by this idea that in how Star Wars has classically dealt with the stuff is in an environment. The rules are defined by the specific type of environment. In Jabba the Hutt's palace, you could have farts, you could have gluttony, you could have stupid burps, all of that kind of shit.
Jazz numbers,
yeah, it's allowed. No, that's exactly how this works, though. And then, but when you
everyone loved that. That was our favorite.
They were bitching about it when it wasn't that. So but once again, because
they go even more to make it better.
No, it's just not my fault that after you have like hours and hours and hours of Star Wars content that it's still a mystery that how it's handled to some people. It's fucking amazing. It's like deciding I like when I have when I go out to sushi with this person. Therefore, everything should be like when I go out to sushi with this person. But when you go home, that person farts.
It should lean more into George's racist alien accents, right?
Yeah, but it's like Tatooine is the one that I find is the most confusing of that kind of stuff. But like for instance, when you go on Naboo, you're not going to see a fart. You're not going to see an EOP taking a shit and Jar Jar stepping in it. But
you're not going to see people actually being persecuted or round up or anything. I mean, except for really tiny.
That's just you bitching about 1999, buddy. No, but what I'm talking about is like Jabba's part of Tatooine is different than the Lars Homestead. The Lars Homestead is playing into the prairie genre. You know what I mean? Like it's the West.
They hide
it's
guns
the Western
in the walls.
front. Yeah, no, but it's the Western front on that one. So you won't see that there. But when you go over to the Jabba the Hutt part of Tatooine into the Jabba sphere, then that's when it is all.
I just like how Uncle Owen's like, life is harsh. We keep guns in the walls. You know, Women will come for Luke in the middle of the night and try to kill him when he's a baby. It's super tough. And then just, I don't know, about a half a click away, jazz numbers,
Well, it's a
jazz
big
numbers
planet.
and Vespas.
That's a whole not half a click away. I don't think, I mean, Star Wars, it just deals with things in a stupid way. It doesn't go like, oh, let's show them driving for 15 hours over to Jabba's. But if it's a whole planet, it would take probably couldn't drive. It'd be like driving to China.
Let the Wookiee run it.
But
big
I mean that's how you could justify it to yourself, though. I mean, like if Luke is in the American West, where's Jabba is like China. You know what I mean? Like more than like it's like completely.
If it was on the other side of the planet, perhaps.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it would have been better
right down the street.
It would have been better to have set Jabba's palace on a different planet than Tatooine,
like Narshada or something,
KM22 says, you can't convince me that C.O. Bill will never rip the mustard gas fart just because he's on Naboo.
Invasion.
But that's the thing is, it's like, think about the ISB scenes in Andor. You're not going to have like anything from those other two places happening there.
The old guy's like,
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean though? But that's what Star Wars does is it uses its setting to sort of define like the parameters of its rules. Like you're not going to see monsters walking around the Death Star, but if you go into the trash compactors, well, there's where the monsters lie. And it just it plays with things in that way, and that's what kind of keeps it fun. But
I used to tell kids in the schoolyard that the
Yeah.
Dianoga was because Darth Vader poops Sith monsters. Like, yeah, and they couldn't deny it. Like, it was hard to like, yeah, it's like it's a Sith monster. He poops Sith monsters.
Yeah.
Darth Vader has to poop, right?
But yeah, that's why when you have like the pod race and all of like the gluttony and the stupid eccentricities, it's just like there's like a slider there on how much eccentricities are allowed. Now, if I were making Skeleton Crew, I would allow children to go into the most eccentric parts of Star Wars. That would be, I think, the most fun for the kids. We get the most reaction. I wouldn't have Skeleton Crew and then be like, well, here's the Andor reality. Like, you know how boring that would be? That would be so fucking boring to see kids in the Andor reality. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm fucking hungry. Like, that would be the whole thing.
We saw kids in the Andor reality. Andor. He was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. And
that was your favorite part when he was raging against the machine.
Yeah, that's not the show, though, is it?
It is the show. Whole show hangs on that.
No, Rob, the show's not Andor at 10 years old.
You go back to your review.
Rob, go watch the show. Andor's 10, about 3 minutes in the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I just ruined your little shtick there.
No, you didn't. A flashback to a child does not mean that's the show, Rob. You just because it happens. You're thinking it that I said because it happens in the show, it means it's the show. That's crazy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It would be like saying the Batman flashback means Batman was a kid in the whole Batman.
Yes.
It's not. No,
he's still dressing up in a costume, but he's got like his parent telling him not to go out too late and go to school. Yes, he's a giant kid.
And I'm gonna be fucking real with you right now, Rob. The toy is not a Spider-Man prequel.
He puts his logo on everything. Only kids do this, Jason. Kids and Trump. Like, that's it.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Naboo uses the same kind of logic in that Naboo has. With Naboo, you have the royal Naboo palaces, and that very Italian / Roman whatever kind of culture that it's pulling from, and then underneath in the sea you have your undersea Gungan city. That's a completely different culture with different attitudes and rules, and the kind of silliness that will happen there doesn't necessarily pertain to the other spot. That doesn't mean when Jar Jar shows up he's not bumbling and a moron, because that's part of his character. But yes, we are all adult children.
It's the part of the play where everyone's a moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but with Skeleton Crew, like when you look at Andor, if Andor's for the 40-year-olds, Skeleton Crew is hopefully everybody likes all of it. But it's probably gonna aim younger. It just is. And there's like absolutely nothing wrong with that if it's not condescending. Like when we were kids and we watched the Goonies and we watched Explorers and we watched, E.T. and and stuff like that, it was never condescending to us. It treated a child's reality as
Mac and Me
worthwhile,
was.
scary, and real. Yeah, and Mac and Me's the one that didn't. He goes in a wheelchair over the side of a.
I'm thinking they'll probably do Mac and Me. I think they learned the wrong lessons. They're gonna have them all dancing in a Burger King on the.
What you're telling me is Kathleen Kennedy looks at Mac and Me and she's like, "That's the one I wish I produced that I didn't."
Yeah, that's the one that got away.
That's the one I wanted and I didn't get.
It's her white space whale.
Oh man. Anyways. Yeah, so no, so the if the show is condescending, if I watch it and I feel like, oh, this is silly and boring and stupid, and then my kids aren't interested in it, then I have kids that are the exact perfect age when Skeleton Crew hits. They're gonna be like 9 and 10, or between 10 and 11 years old. And like, if it doesn't land for my kids and I'm not entertained, then I'll know the show failed. It failed at what it's doing. But
Jyn Erso as a kid looks tougher than all these skeleton kids. Just letting you know, Jace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But once again, what the problem, Rob, is that they are doing the New Republic is clean. That's what they're doing. These are
I love clean Star Wars. It's my favorite.
Right. But once again, the problem is only if it stays clean. That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with saying, yes, this is civilized society. But once we get into the outback, once we hit the frontier, then you cannot maintain that. And that's what I'm hoping that the aesthetic design of the Mando era does go with that. It does go with, yeah, this looks like the Ewok adventure. This is Star Tours. We are civilized in for these couple of years. We are coming from a planet that is, these kids are in an academy at school. They're not going to be stinky little frontier kids. But if they stay that way, that will be disappointing. You know what I mean? Like, that's my take. It's fine to go from clean to dirty. If you have a lived in galaxy and it gets lived in, fine. And there's nothing wrong with every kid generally gets new clothes for school. It's like, and if we're starting at the beginning of the school year and they got their new clothes on, fine. But if we end up at the end of we're in episode 8 and everybody looks exactly the same and nothing has changed over that time, that's going to be like lame. But anyways, to go back to the question, pirates seem to be one adversary. I'm also just of the opinion, my opinion, not a scoop, but
hold on, I'm typing the scoop out right now.
Was that
ChatGPT?
Jude Law was codenamed and referred to only as the teacher. And everyone else had names, but he was the teacher. And we know now that he's he has the Force and stuff like that. So I think the implication here is that we have this guy who was going to be a Jedi and didn't make it, but he's been surviving out in the.
He's Obi-Wan Kenobi's brother.
Yeah, he's Obi-Wan's brother. It could be. Who fucking knows? I mean, I would buy Jude Law being his brother, but he survives, and just the fact that they're out in the galaxy learning the ropes of how to contend with the world. That's one of the the basic things with the hero's journey. Is the hero leaves home, ends up in the world, must contend with the world, and then meet the challenges of it. And there's always a teacher. And A New Hope, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi and Han Solo. Both of those characters help Luke become a man by the end of the story, so to speak. And so I'm guessing that he's going to be a bit of a shyster. I think that's going to be his different take. So we may have a story where at first they meet him and he appears to be a friend, but he might just be ripping him off. He may just be stealing their ship or something. He may have links to the dead crew. I mean, we don't. So this is all speculation on my part, but I'm guessing that we're going to have them not be with Jude Law, and then they will obviously become, bad news bearers. You know what I mean? Walter Matthau's not going to want them at first, and then they will probably coalesce into something more of a unit as they have to work together, or maybe as the pirates are chasing them both. Something
So we
like that.
might be able to eat the Rebo.
Yeah.
Keep them.
Well, it does look like in the that scene that's around, they're in a jail cell, in a prison cell together, and then that he helps them escape. So I'm guessing that that's probably how they meet. Maybe it's possible, but I don't know. Do you know how Skeleton Crew ends? I do not. No, I don't. I don't at this time. Nothing firm. I know some back end story stuff, but I don't know if
Exterior
it's the end.
space and credits.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how it ends.
Well, also too. I mean, like, but like how something ends. Like I had like how Ahsoka ended, and then but when you look at it, like they kind of move in the edit as things get moved around. It's like kind of the ending, but you know what I mean. It was like how it was constructed, but how it's finalized is like a little bit different. Yeah, but the question with Skeleton Crew is, do they just end up back home by the 8th episode? You know what I mean? Having gone on an adventure and experienced things, and there's always I would my assumption is going to be they will get home at by the end. That will be the overall story. And then they will get home, and then I'm guessing if they want to do more, the kids just can't. They can't conform to civilized republic life, going to school after they've got a
I'm
taste.
used to space
Right.
adventures, Jason.
Mhm.
And when I learned the thuggy cult and ran around with the Jedi, and I ran around.
Yeah.
They're like that all fucking day, man. The orphanage just sends them, just send them out. Just leave them on the street. And they're
Chris
just spoiled.
asks, over under we see Mando and Skeleton Crew. So there was a rumor that
The helmet?
don't think I don't think I don't think has, and I shouldn't say panned out, but I don't think has had any more weight to it. But the rumor was that Mando was going to be hired to find the children when the parents can't get them, and that's how he was going to be in it. That feels like an obvious thing to me, and I've never got anything more on that, so I don't think it's really going to pan out. I don't think that rumor is going to be a thing, personally, but it does make sense. You know what I mean? It was one of the most practical things I've ever heard from, and the person who told me was like, you should look into this. You should look, I heard this, you should look into it. I looked into it and I didn't get anything else. So they were filming around the same time. Would be too hard, but I also feel like if Mando was filmed
Why is
for Skeleton
Mando
Crew,
all wet in one episode of Skeleton Crew and then not all wet?
right? The next scene.
So
Yeah.
weird. Because it's
Yeah.
campy, Rob. Don't care. Stop caring.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like, Skeleton Crew sounds to me like a show that was pitched and conceived all on its own by its creators and its crew, and then more or less adapted into the era and the other shows. So putting Mando in that role could be the case. Would make sense, but I don't know. But also, if they did that, it would help not seeing Mando and Grogu for a long time. That would be a nice place to do it, but I wouldn't expect it, And then who's the antagonist for Acolyte? Random Force users? From what we think we know, well, you know what? I don't really think any of the spoilers for Acolyte and the early stuff that wasn't me and Bespin, I don't think any of that is panned out. But from the trailer, we seem to have Amandla Stenberg's character attempting to assassinate Carrie-Anne Moss, his character, who's a Jedi. We know that she was a Padawan who's no longer a Padawan, and that her old master is still a Jedi in the Jedi Order. And so for some reason, she is either expelled or is like a conscientious objector to the Jedi. And then clearly is involved with something darker. It's what it seems like. And but it's weird because the way that it's presented is that her and her master are trying, or her old master are trying to solve what this crime is. So to me, that implies, this is just the implication, doesn't mean it's the reality, that there's Sith going ons out there, and her master is like, I need to figure out what this is, gets her in on it to help him, because my also guess is because it's a thriller. She can do the things he can't do because she's no longer a Jedi. Therefore, she can go and not, if the Jedi say don't do something, she doesn't have to listen. So that's probably what we're gonna have there. But then maybe in the process of that is converted into the to the Sith side of things, or something like that. I don't know. But so I think that the Jedi Order itself is gonna probably be the antagonist, but it's more about the mystery of the breadcrumbs. So, at the end, do they find Darth Plagueis or some shit like that? It's completely possible he could show up there, or whoever the guy who came before him or lady who came before him is, and so anything is possible for that front. But it does seem like an assassination attempt is in there. So I think it's more of pulling off the plan and solving the mystery and how those things converge. But it does sound like Acolyte is intended to be several seasons. That's what they want. My opinion is that they want the Acolyte to probably take over the Disney Plus Mandoverse stuff as Filoni transitions to the film stuff. I don't think that there's enough room for an active Mandoverse series du jour and all of the Acolyte stuff at the same time. And I think if one thing jumps to film, then
no Chronicles of Paleomoto.
No, but once something jumps to like film, they're going to be way more weird about what they're going to let the TV shows do that reveals anything from the films. They're not cool enough to like be like, yeah, we just gave away something big from the film in episode 4 of Mandalorian. They're not that cool. They're way too fucking uptight. So that's why I hope that attitude changes. That would be great. But I'm not expecting it, I'm not I think that the most we're going to see with the Mando stuff is setting up the climate for the films. Thrawn's back. The Imperial Remnant is reformed. The Empire is truly back. And blah, 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 But, yeah, and then like Skywalker's Academy says, they're unknowns, I think. Later seasons may lead up to Tenebris and Plagueis. and they may not. That's like the other thing. Is like all of like that stuff is probably going to be completely reformed because whatever this story needs. So that's why I'm like, when it comes to Plagueis, I'm like, how are they going to handle it? Is Plagueis still alive in the time of Phantom Menace? That was like one of those weird, what the fuck, George Lucas last minute, like, I'm going to blow your guys' minds kind of thing that he decided to do. But I don't think people at Lucasfilm like the idea. I think they're like, fuck, when that happened.
Not just them.
But so point being is, yeah, that might be one of the things that Lucas contributes that dies off, that doesn't make it, because it stands to reason. They're going to want to tell the young Palpatine story. And realistically, the young Palpatine story is a High Republic story.
Have you ever heard of the story of Darth Plagueis the Groomer?
Yeah,
Right?
I have.
Yeah.
It's an erotic adventure and a rollicking one at that. But no, I mean, but that's those are the things to think about, like when we talk about the High Republic era. Like, yeah, Palpatine is born in it, and if so, it does stand to reason eventually when every named main character is series or movie fodder, somebody's going to make the young Palpatine story. You know what I mean? There's going to be some kind of humanizing element in him losing his way kind of thing. And because right now,
is that Palpatine, Indiana Jones kid, Sean Patrick Flannery, going to play him still again?
Powder? Yeah, of course Powder's going to play him, but not Phenomenon. We don't fucking talk about Phenomenon.
Come on, Travolta's second best movie,
Listen, I'm a Powder man. I'm Powder man all the way. Phenomenon, fuck off. Also, Dante's Inferno. That said, yeah, I think I think that it like we could see the series lead up into young Palpatine, but we need the timeline to be more cemented. It keeps being a bit like, oh, it's roughly this, it's roughly that, but Palpatine's the one character in Star Wars who has absolutely no redeeming quality. He is completely just Satan the whole time. And I don't want to, we don't really need, Star Wars, the Star Wars story that makes us go, oh, you know what? Hitler was just a man too, Space Hitler was just a man too. We don't really necessarily need that, but there is the possibility for an intriguing story. I mean, when you think about like what that guy was like, in his early 20s.
Unless Kathy's like, we've already got the Star Wars fans. We need to get the big liars too. Yeah, we got to get that audience because we got to always get a new audience. We can't. Our audience, we got them. We got them. They're good. They don't buy anything we put out, but we got to get a new audience.
So what we're thinking is Palpatine meets Pretty Little Liars. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Pretty Little Salad the Huts. It'll be like Cabbage Patch Kids, but with actual cabbages.
Yeah,
it's the 80s all over again, Jason.
Yeah, Pistol Pete says so.
Back, baby. Sorry.
Basically, it's like if Ahsoka became a Sith. Yeah, kind of in a way is what it might be. But also the thing about Acolyte to remember is we are making assumptions that she's going to be that she's the Acolyte Sith. Like it does go into quote dark side intrigue. But as in the first season of the show, for all we know, she's an ex-Padawan, a Jedi who quit, who is investigating this stuff, and it's just more like a space cop. You know what I mean? It doesn't.
She pronounced it Padawan or Paduan or Pedawan. Because I got a feeling.
No, don't say Padawan. Don't say Padawan.
Well, Jason, they do steal children. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah. KM22, the Acolyte is considered High Republic era content. Yeah, like all of the High Republic stuff that we've had so far has only been from the media, the print media endeavor, or whatever you want to call it. And this is going to be the thing that actually like shows what it looks like and what it feels like. This is the definitive thing. This show is what makes or breaks the concept, I think. You know what I mean?
I just can't wait to hear the Nemodians talk, dude. Like I just this is gonna go over. There's a whole group of people who've either forgotten or never seen the Phantom Menace enough to remember this, Jason. Mm-hmm. But when it happens, you're gonna hear shocked and why is Disney's getting real? Like
yeah,
real insensitive Disney.
Yeah, no, we're likely going to see battle droids and Trade Federation stuff in it, I would think.
Well, we saw the Nemodian in the trailer, the elite one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have because I think like one of the things that's going to most likely happen is we're going to see how we're going to like the political intrigue that does happen in it will likely be like, oh yeah, they bought off these politicians. This corporations bought these people off. Who's buying off the corporations kind of thing. And then so I think it's going to be a bit like a cop show in a way, or like a bit noir, a bit of noir feeling to some of that stuff is the impression that I'm getting. And it's a good cast too, for what it's worth. I think it actually has one of the stronger casts in any of the shows we've seen on Disney Plus for Star Wars. So, if it doesn't connect, well, what can you do? But yeah, it's definitely going to be them investigating, like I said, these crimes and and then so I think it's good, and I don't think it's going to be like episode 1. Sith Lord's here. I think it's going to be like episode 1 through 3 are like, what's going on with this, like with this corporate fucking crime kind of thing, and then it's going to lead to the next thing, and I think it's just going to be like it will elevate. Is kind of my guess, and then by the end of it, we know, oh shit, it goes right to the top, baby. Something like that.
It was an inside job.
Yeah. Cascading says, remember when George was going to give Emperor Palpatine a love interest? Maybe that's the Acolyte, his first love. It did sound a lot like they were doing it where Mother Talzin was like his love interest, and she massively fucks him over, and then he gets his revenge. But in doing so, starts the pathway to they were going to do something like that. All of the Twitter.
Oh no,
crowd is,
Jason, no,
Mhm.
no. And she had a nickname for him. It's going to be called Puppy Teen.
Oh,
So, oh, my little puppy teen. Oh, my little puppy teen.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
gonna be real sweet. Yeah.
yeah.
Jonathan was helping me with that, and but he wrote shit, so I cut it out. Yeah.
Do you think Palpatine was like, when you cheated on me, it was a real shocker, and then he just starts shocking her?
Yeah. Yeah. And then she said, "You're being a poopy teen," and and
Yeah.
I wrote that one. We were gonna keep that anyway, but
Yeah, I think
Rick
this would
made
be
me
a
cut it
reference
out.
like in a comic book where like Darth Vader's like, she lives in your head rent free, and then he's gonna be, what about Padme?
Oh yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh. But
yeah.
Balin says, how can Skeleton Crew kill a child character? You think John Watts and Ford would do that? No, I
Oh,
don't.
you can just kill him, Jason. It doesn't matter. It's Star
No,
Wars.
I mean,
It's campy. You can just kill him campy wise. Just
no,
yeah.
it's
You just have
being.
like a big anvil fall on him or something. It'll be really fun.
I
Yeah.
mean, when you look at what Skeleton Crew is doing down to every last detail, it's Amblin.
Uh-huh.
It's what Amblin would do. They didn't kill a
Oh,
Goonie.
not
They
Steven.
didn't kill an ET kid.
Yeah, but honestly, I put the short round was God. He was real in my movie, and his movie was just making stupid gadgets.
Short
Wasn't as
Round
good.
didn't die either. He didn't
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he actually originally he pulled out Indy's heart and then put it back, and he's like, "Put your heart back, like the Tin Man, Jason." It was
yeah.
it's gonna be like a real cyclical, Wizard of Oz thing. Yeah. All right, well, this is fascinating. I gotta go play Fortnite. My battle pass is almost complete. So,
Yeah, go finish your battle pass, George.
yeah, all right.
Drunken Wookie says, I bet anything that the point of the Acolyte is to tell the hidden rides of the Sith how they came back and ultimately go to Papa Palpatine. Yeah, I mean, probably it probably will, depending on the parameters of the show, but it does seem like it's going to go, into, like I said, two Jedi investigating the crimes of the Sith. And then, like, they obviously can't find that out on day one. But the thing about it is, with that character being an ex-Jedi, being somebody who left the Jedi Order, either kicked out or quit, whichever it happens to be, that implies a philosophical fundamental difference in ideology from the Jedi themselves, which would make that person somewhat susceptible to the ideas and teachings of Sith Lords, right? I would think in the Star Wars universe, if we look at everything as being, sort of, Coke or Pepsi, Jedi or Sith, then that's how it's gonna fall. Yeah, and hopefully, as it says, blockades and baking clan time, and yeah, hopefully they know how to present those things without, because like you can watch cop shows and they'll be like investigating corporate espionage and shit like that and things that have gone on, and it's not boring. It's George Lucas who will like to tell you about the intricacies of it, his fun ideas that he finds fun, and I'm hoping that Headland doesn't do that or has a more nuanced way of doing it, which I'm gonna guess would be the case, right? I mean, it makes sense anyways, but
Look, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, but this show has been pitched as sort of the bad guys of the centrist, and that
yeah,
trailer was not bad guy centric. It was
right.
all good guys. So I don't know, because I don't know if marketing is on the same page as what the story might be.
Yeah, Dave says Headland has said explicitly in Variety that Acolyte is 100 years before the Phantom Menace. Therefore, it's 100 years after the THR books, so Palpatine won't be born yet. Probably. That's probably. And they've also have said it's 50 years before the Phantom Menace as well. So, yeah, like I said, I want it to be very, very like firm, not about like what is it? Like what's it going to be? And like, how old is Palpatine in the Phantom Menace? That's like a big question because, obviously if that's 100, if it is like
22.
100 years, then what'd you say, it's like 60 probably in Phantom Menace?
Oh, like in people years? Yeah, I'd say about that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He looks like he's like in his 60s. You know what I mean? So Palpatine age. Let me see if it. Okay, so if Palpatine Phantom Menace, he's supposed to be 52, is what they were saying.
Oh, must be a smoker.
It must be, man. He'll be smoking some fucking Plagueis shit, some purple Urkel. Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith take place 13 years after. It means he would be 65 when he's the Emperor, when he becomes Emperor at age 65. So even though it looks like he's a fucking 100 because he got turned into a ball sack by Mace Windu. If you ever think about that, Mace Windu's greatest feat is helping turn Palpatine into a ball sack. But yeah, so he's like 65. So that means we have probably a generation to 2 generations of Sith Lords before we get to him in a way. But with Plagueis, if he is a Mun or a Mun, I don't remember how it's pronounced. People have fought with me. It says in the Wikipedia article that they live normal human age, and I'm like, okay, fine. But what if they just doesn't? What if they could live to be 400 years old, So we might have that character as the main Sith Lord for longer. Just depends on what they want to do. Drunken Wiki says it makes sense to introduce Tenebris and then the Plagueis eventually. Yeah, I mean, but once again, Tenebris was who wrote the Plagueis book? Was it Lucino? Probably a Lucino created character. I like the stuff with it. Like, I think it's fun, but will they go that way?
No,
They might not. It might just be whoever the new characters are to Plagueis.
the books don't really matter.
No, but Leslie Headland is an EU fan. She read those books, enjoyed them when she was just a citizen. Not a Star Wars citizen, just a citizen. A civilian, Rob. She was reading those things. So you have to think that as a creative, she's like, oh, I like this stuff. She's buying it. She's reading it. But then she's also, but it would be better if. So the questions are, where does Headland go? It's better because. And then, like, where those changes.
Leslie Headland's changing the books now because she thinks she's better.
Hey.
You can see the headline. See how it works, Jason? Careful what you say.
She probably is. It probably is better.
I know. You know what I mean.
Yeah. The storytelling in Russian Doll, probably better than
Santa listens to all of it while he watches Flat Earth videos just to get caught in the loop. I just want to see what they're arguing about.
Poor Santa. He gets so much abuse from us. Listen,
they keep showing me Flat Earth videos, Jason. No.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, to be clear, Skeleton Crew, Christmas season. Doesn't mean December. Doesn't mean on Christmas. Just Christmas season. That's the window. That's what we got.
December 24th, 2024.
Christmas Eve. All 8 episodes. Joking.
Yeah. All at once.
Okay. Shogun says, do you think there's something inherently hard to do about a Star Wars story that is Sith-centric? They're all evil, so how to depict a society that's R-rated in nature? Yeah, I think the problem is that you fall into anti-hero territory, and anti-hero stuff is a blurry line. Star Wars, the classic Star Wars stuff that people fell in love with, the reason why it's the global phenomenon is the black and whiteness of it. Everything is, the original stuff was just very clear. This guy's good, this guy's bad. And that's why, like, the Darth Vader story that gives us any empathy for him at all is told over basically six films. And then so you have that right there. But if you go, like, people say, like, oh, there's this fake infographic going around that Vader is coming to a Disney Plus series. And in my opinion, that would be a very, very difficult thing to tell without having other characters be our protagonist experiencing Darth Vader and having to, like,
but he's going to be a feminist in this one because it's Disney Plus, and they're going to start calling him Vader.
Darth Vader. Yeah. Oh, very good, Rob. Yeah. We're making the talking points for the Fandom Menace now.
Yeah. Where's our super chat, buddy?
Rob, Fandom Menace marketing director over here. Vader.
See?
So stupid. Anyway,
Jason, when this happens, what do I get? Huh? What do I get? Yeah. Nothing.
Well, but anyways, the thing is that is like when you go anti-hero, you end up kind like there's people who watch Breaking Bad and don't get Walter White's the bad guy.
Why is his
Like,
wife keeping him down?
well, and because you like, but
He doesn't support him.
because the anti-hero narrative inherently makes us like empathetic towards the actions of evil or bad stuff.
Because you got to make something like Sopranos in order for it to work on any level,
Mhm.
and they're not going to do it with Star Wars.
Yeah, when you have like mobsters and you're like, oh yeah, he just choked out a guy and killed him with a pencil or some shit like that, but he did it for the family. Then you're like, oh, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? It kind of you could understand it. Why they do the bad things. But when it comes to Star Wars, the idea of the Sith is actually like just ham-fisted stupidity. I want more power. Oh, how do I level up my power? Because I'm so hurt inside. Like that's it. It's like that's really it. But
See, Jason, that's how I hear it when these guys talk about this shit all
Yeah.
day, right? I'm
No-
like,
no,
it's ridiculous. Like,
yeah, and that's why you don't necessarily want to delve too deep into it unless
well, it works better in a video game, like or
Mhm.
something animated. I'm not saying because they're less, because when you have drawings or pixels,
Yeah.
you're not, you can ascribe to it a certain level of awareness. Yeah, I don't know how to
Yes.
describe that, right? Like but when it's a person, you're like, well, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, right?
Right.
It's almost like what we do in the shadows, right? Like it needs to be like a parody, like in order for
Yeah.
it to. Yeah.
And like the thing philosophically about the way that the Sith have been designed is there's not really a good angle to it. You know what I mean? The only angle, it's almost like Satanist. The only angle that where you could go like Satanism is good, and we're talking about like the Satanism as a religion, is it does say just look at yourself and do what's right for you, and that kind of shit like that. It's basically like a self-sufficient kind of thing. I'm not endorsing Satanism, hell Satan, just saying. But it's like that's the only like real angle from what they've established before that makes it make any kind of like sense. It's not really a sensible religion. No one would got
Sensible
unless there's like
religion.
metalhead would be like, yeah, fucking Sith Lord is fucking cool, dude. Like it doesn't really actually make any sense as a philosophy for like everyday life. A street
Metalhead
vendor,
turn Ninja Turtle.
yeah, I mean, like, what's a street vendor gonna do with Sith ideology? You know what I'm saying?
Gonna sell glowing ice cream cones. Like it's
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's
just the
happened
red ones.
before.
Though.
It's happened before. But yeah, so anyways though, it, and I don't think it has to be R-rated to tell a Sith Lord story, but how do you keep people like intrigued? I mean, even look at the Old Republic with Revan and stuff like that. It's the empathy that you feel like during some of the bad, the evil turn and stuff has to do with the other characters. So that's where it's just like I'm not a huge fan of bad guy stories unless it's like the idea of like the Joker film, mental illness and that kind of thing, and you're just watching somebody spiral into Taxi Driver. Okay, fine. But there's not really a lot of stuff there for me usually. Now, what I would say, if you took the Andor kind of vibe and you were to go through and do House of Cards with Tony Gilroy about Palpatine, oh, I'm fucking in. Like, I believe that would work. I could see how you could make that work, especially because you would have people that are working with Palpatine for their own reasons that seem to make sense to them, and so there's always the possibility of making that shit work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like it's off the table. Somebody
I can
will
make it
eventually
work,
do it.
Jason. I have a 16 series trilogy, quadrilogy, bilogy, quadrilogy script already laid out. It's not hard, Jason. Just give me an agent. Give me an agent.
I don't. Yeah, so that's where like when I always hear like, oh yeah, they're making Dark Tenebrous, the TV series. I'm always just like, what
But
about that?
didn't you prefer My Hero Vigilantes over My Hero?
I do, but they're good guys still. They're the ones who didn't get into space school. So like, if they wanted to do Star Wars, story about the kids who didn't get into the Jedi Order and still decided to use the Force to do their own thing and then become vigilantes, that's badass. Do it. Like I'm there for it, you know. But it's not necessarily like, I don't know, if when you deal with black and white, evil and good kind of thing, that's where it gets so complicated about how you actually like sell that, especially when, look at how like a lot of people struggled with Andor. They shouldn't have, but they did because all they watch is Star Wars. So it was like, oh, this is hard for me. It was
Yeah.
really weird. But so Shogun says their Sith society needs to be dark enough to warrant them coming up with a rule of two. Maybe not R-rated, but yeah, that would be like an idea I could see working out. Would be like the like if, for instance, an animated movie that was about how the whole Sith thing happened, an overview of it. That would be maybe fun. You know what I mean? But once again, you don't really come up with necessarily with characters that you connect to, and then they almost fail because for them to become evil, they failed. They've gone off the correct path, and so that's where I'm like, you know, that's where it doesn't necessarily make like a lot of sense to me. But you know, I would love to be, as always, love to be proven wrong on that, because I mean, it could definitely be fun. I just don't know in my head who the right filmmakers would be to go and who could pull that story off in like a meaningful way. You know what I mean? Or some shit like that. But yeah, Crawling Chaos says the Padawan Rejects could be like a Star Wars gangsta show. Yeah, and we kind of like might be seeing that with Skeleton Crew with that character. You know, with that Jedi who's sort of like just using what he got to exist and to make it. That's what we think he is, anyways. Mean Street says one such subtle homage exists in Return of the Jedi, where a captivating scene has drawn a deep-rooted connection with a particular legendary film from Francis Ford Coppola. When Jabba gets choked out, like he's what's his name in Godfather. So, but
You know, it's that cut scene where they woke up with half a Rancor shoved into Jabba's bed or some shit. You know, like
yeah, Aria just sent me the shot of from Skeleton Crew. Oh, sorry, I don't think it's
can't see
able to
nothing.
show.
Nope, it's
There it
covering you
goes.
out.
So that right there is
Oh.
the dead body on the ship. You know what I mean, on the Skeleton Crew ship. So yeah, but anyways, just to like wrap up that conversation, I think the problem is that your audience needs to identify with it, and people like vigilantes, like Batman and stuff like that. But straight up, like, here's like, we don't go to the theater usually, I don't think, and like watch, oh, here's just a movie about Nazis being Nazis. Like, that's not a thing that people identify with, that they want.
Give
That's
America
not.
a few years, Jason. You know, you're short selling.
Hey,
You're short selling our audiences
oh,
here. You
trust
know,
me, I know. No, but that's not, you know, like they want like the good guys. Now you could also do this idea behind Acolyte is potentially a way of exploring that without like I'm under the assumption that Amandla Stenberg will likely become an Acolyte for evil, but she's going to be an Acolyte for good first. And
yeah,
then
like I think there's bad guys and I want to kill them. The Jedi don't believe me because they're all stupid and we know that. So I'm gonna go kill them, and then in killing them, I become them.
something like that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then like, but like also the big thing is, what was her rift with the Jedi Order? What made her get fired or quit? And then that right there is going to be
She was a
the
librarian and she was handing out banned books.
I mean, no, she might be one of the ones that's like, hey, I don't think it was right you took us from our family. I don't think it's right you broke our family. She might be somebody who wanted to change that. Like, we don't, there's a lot of different ways of getting at this. I mean, there's the Ahsoka Tano way. I mean, and when you get down to it, I mean, it could mirror the Ahsoka Tano thing, because that's what Palpatine does to Ahsoka, and it might be something that the Sith have done before, and that's why he knew to do it. You know, it might be where he got the idea. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they could come up with to make that kind of shit work. But I am of the opinion that
Wait,
we wait till episode 7 where they ask her, "Why are you doing this?" And she goes, "We'll talk about that later."
Yeah. Story for another time.
Right? Then we just never
Um,
get around to it.
It's been 9 years since the Force Awakens teaser. It's been that long.
Shut your mouth.
But yeah, it's true. But we are in a place where I think the television series is the best place to dig into that, because you could add all these different characters. You could have ways of the audience forming attachments to them. That's just not just like, I want more power, I'm evil and emo, because that's kind of what it kind of classically ends up being, is a bit evil and emo. So hurt people, hurt others, Rob. You know what I mean, dude? You know what I'm saying, bro? You don't, do you? Thank you for the super chats today, Shogun Order. I do appreciate it, man.
I know what you were saying.
What? You sound like Kanye to me just
yeah.
now. Yeah, but anyways, thank you to everybody for being a channel member, liking the video and supporting the show. It is appreciated. It's how I can afford to go out to breakfast and get any info at all for this shit. Yeah, and then if there's any news tomorrow, I think there might be some news tomorrow. I think it looks likely. I don't know. Maybe Bestman Bulletin will put something out tomorrow. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. I'm gonna tell him to though. And then so I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's the plan, anyways. So what's today? Today's Tuesday. So yeah, I like to do a Wednesday show. And then if you have any questions or whatever, just leave them in the comments and we will see them. And make sure you like the video and all that jazz, and become a channel member if you can. It's nice around the holidays to have a little bit of Christmas cash. I appreciate it, at least. And
just consider it bribes. Like
Consider it
Bespin takes bribes in the form of Patreon. Jason takes bribes in the form of subscriptions.
So Arthur Commit says, mention the holiday special and Jason ends the stream. I'll have to remember to do that tomorrow early. Yeah. But anyways, remember that time I tried to make you watch the holiday special on the stream and then they just shut it down on us?
One time the algorithm worked for me, right? That's like, thank
in
God.
your opinion, in your favor.
Oh man, it got me out of so much pain.
But anyways, we will be back tomorrow. So everyone be cool, stay in school. Thanks for hanging out with me today, Rob. Say bye, Rob.
Bye, Rob.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey, it's the end of the show. Come on, let's go. Hey, it's the end of the show. Come on, let's go. Hey, you should go. Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.